Doctor, in the previous episode, we were discussing about the challenges in Indian healthcare system. One of the examples that you gave was no proper operation theater or no proper cath lab and so on and so forth.
Yes.
So you've had an international stint. Do you want to share a few examples of your international stint?
See, when I landed in United States for the first time in my life, I was way back in 69, 70. And the very next day when I entered the cath lab, I realized the atmosphere was completely different. The pathology amongst the patients, I started working on the babies. And at that point of time, I learned how to do cardiac catheterization in a newborn baby, which is 4 hours old. And that was very challenging for me because I was scared to touch even a baby. They're so delicate. And I thought, oh my God, how will I manage this? But I learned. A few important things is that my partner, the lady, Julie Lucans, I remember the name, she never wanted to work in the cath lab. So I started doing double duty. I would take up her work also because I wanted to gather experience as much as possible and as fast as possible. So I started doing that. Meanwhile, my wife was supporting by working in a neighboring hospital as a transfusion therapist. So we had a sizable, comfortable level of income. So that was going on. After 4 months, one day I was called by Bob Miller, my boss, Robert Miller. He said, Ashwin, looking at your achievement, capability, your grasp, I would say that you should not work in clinical science, but you should go for research. Bob Dehan is my good friend. And Bob Dehan was working on a pacemaker cells, of our own pacemaker cells. And he was working on embryo. And I said, from treating human beings, I've got to go down now to embryo level. And he said that research work is one which is meant for you. If you like, I'll position you with his lab and you would work there. How about that? And Bob Dehan is a Nobel Prize nominee. So that was a very difficult decision for me to make. That means the rest of my life I would spend in the United States. You can't do research overnight. And if you want to make that kind of a research which is impact making and really, really contributing, then I have to dedicate my life to research. On the other hand, my parents were here, and I also had some glory about the life in Mumbai, the car, the house, the money. That's totally different, completely different ball game. Ultimately, I thought raising my children would be also an important aspect of my life. Managing my wife and her needs is another aspect. A researcher is a solo lever. He doesn't care for the rest of the world. He is in and out completely. To him, his laboratory is his world. He thought I was capable, but I didn't accept it and I came back to India. Then, because I knew that I had to come back to India, I learned how to develop the film, how to set up the cath lab equipment, a work which technician does. I learned because I have to train my own technicians when I come back here. So all those things I kept in mind. The very important thing I learned was how to respect a human being. In the University of Chicago, when I would go for a lunch in a cafeteria, everybody takes his own tray. In front of me be a janitor, behind me be a Nobel Prize winner. But we all take our turn. My boss, my teacher, my chief of the unit was playing tennis on Saturday, and he could tell him he was playing tennis on Saturday with my liftman. And my liftman would say, Dr. Miller, you ditched me last time. I had booked the court. You never turned up. He said, no, Arthur, I'm very sorry. So that human relationship between liftman and the head of the department was something which was new to me. It's not there. We believe in sort of a class system in our country, in all walks of society. That's what I learned.
So, Doctor, what in all these conversations I'm understanding is you are a very, very curious person. In your curiosity, you want to find how you can excel. In your curiosity, you want to find how you can serve the humanity, the society better. And in that curiosity, what I've also understood that you, when wanted to come back to India, which you have come, you've also tried to bring the best of that world to this world,
Yeah.
right? So you would have partnered with societies, you would have given lectures there as well. Do you want to share those experiences too?
Yes. It's a Bhavik, learning and teaching, they go hand to hand, because when you teach, you learn from your students. So that's important. So now, I periodically went to United States because in in um, in those days, angioplasty and was a brand new science. It just took birth. First angioplasty was performed in 1977. So time and again, I went to United States and the other developed countries back and forth. And the time came where I had completely mastered the art of angioplasty, and they would invite me as a staff. So I would go and teach their students. So that was a great honor. There is a researcher and the doctor who contributed what we call is a transcatheter aortic valve replacement, TAVI, and he was the innovator, and he was a great friend of mine. And I worked in his laboratory, and he requested me to demonstrate my technique of angioplasty to their students, which I did. So it was give and take. Same thing I enjoyed working in Japan in special situations, like they call it chronic total occlusion. The artery is 100% occluded. We work on that, and they kept on inviting me. I kept on inviting them. So I am the fellow of the American College of Cardiology, fellow of the American College of Society of Cardiac Interventions and Angioplasties and Angiography, SCI, and I'm also the president of the Cardiology Society of India in the past, 98, president of the Association of Physicians of India. So those are the honors, they are the positions, but recognition also stimulates you to work further. So I could proudly say, and I do feel that I do enjoy high respect in the eyes of my colleagues abroad who are enjoying a very important position in their cardiology society.
So, Doctor, last question on this episode, and the question is when we look at what I as a doctor or I as a cardiologist should do or what my goals are, you've said no to research. How do I as a doctor decide what is yes for me and what is no? What is that skill that makes me decide? Because when you say, and you said so in the previous episode, that I don't need a holiday, it's about happiness, it's about the effort that goes in and so on and so forth. So what is that driver? What is that thought that should come for me to decide this is my goal, this is my path, and this is my vision? A difficult one, but I would really
I
want
think,
to get...
first of all, know thyself.
Okay.
Know thyself, and we have discussed in the past that you should precisely assess your own capabilities, etc. I have marked, one day I asked Dr. Krishna Lingaswamy. He was a very top researcher, and he was also part of a committee which awards the Nobel Prize. And I asked them that what is common amongst these various Nobel Prize winners? Is there anything common? He said, yes, their personality is very peculiar. Once they get into something in their mind, then they will never leave it. That, like, for example, if Newton thought, after all, apple was falling on the ground for years together, no? It was Newton who thought, and then it's pursued to its very, very last, what should I say, corner, or last bit. When Einstein was asked by a Washington Post reporter, what is the thing that you think has contributed to you getting a Nobel Prize? And he said, imaginations. Yesterday's imaginations, today's reality. And these people who are cut out to become a Nobel Prize winners or are great researchers are different kind of people. In our common day-to-day society, they would be a little bit eccentric. I was not. So I made my decision that my makeup is not of that type. But I do feel that I feel sorry about myself that I taught hundreds of students, but I wish I could have stimulated 5 or 6 students and encouraged them to go into a basic research, which would, I think, bring the Indian nation onto the national map in the cardiology research. That I think I'm missing, that I could not do that.
Many more years, doctor. You should obviously consider that. It's been a great conversation. I think doctor has called out at least 3 or 4 times about Jyoti ma'am, your wife. In the previous conversations, he also says he's come back for the family. So in the next episode, let's meet Dr. A.B. Mehta's family and have a great conversation with them as well. Thank you so much.